It's Friday.
Let's go.
All right, ready?
I'm ready.
I got a question for you.
Okay, my microphone was so close, I was like almost hit my microphone.
I know you're not really good about that. Actually, you should keep it close to your mouth.
Okay, sorry.
This is why, if anybody ever notices, he has to wear two because he moves around too much.
So like, what? Let me tell you, like, yes.
He doesn't understand that.
Like, yes, stay right next to it. Okay,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right, so we are in the middle of a sales conversation.
Yeah.
Okay? We're in our process. We're having a tough time or not. We're having a great time, whatever. What is a question someone could ask that would completely shift the path of the sales conversation?
It's Friday. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. It's Friday. I got tons of energy today. Okay, I like this. But which party is asking the question? Is it the pilot? Is it the passenger? Is it the customer? Is it the sales professional? Who's asking the question?
The sales professional. So the sales professional is in pilot mode.
Yeah.
Ooh, actually, we could spin this two ways.
Yeah.
One, what's the question they could ask to shift the path of the conversation if they're in pilot mode?
If they're in pilot mode and the conversation is going off track, it is not looking good.
Mm-hmm.
How do I return them to center?
Yeah. The second one would be, what's the question we should ask as a sales professional to get the path back to the pilot? We don't have the pilot role. One, they are the pilot.
Yeah.
The conversation is not going where we need it to. What's the question they ask?
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's a lot of context we're missing here. But if I'm with the customer, I'm the pilot, we're walking through the process. And depending on what milestone we're at, I can feel it's starting to drift. And we know it's starting to drift. Well, the first key is understanding, how do we know it's drifting? Well, we know it's drifting if we fall out of rapport with a customer. That should be the telltale sign that we're drifting. And so you'll see how all of this interconnects. So if you say, well, how do you know you're out of a rapport? Well, you'd have to remember the three things that rapport is: a shared goal, a shared strategy, and the roles are established. So we're drifting. The sale is not going, the process is not going our way if one, we're no longer asking the questions. That's the second part you just talked about, okay? The shared goal is going to be the goal. The goal is the goal. So we all both know the goal of each milestone. Like we say, okay, well, I want to get pricing. I want to do it. So the goal has been set. Where most sales drift is when we fall out of rapport because we're no longer in the path or the agenda that we set forth. So I said at the beginning, I said, this is why it all connects. So I say, hey, what are you looking to accomplish today? And the buyer says, well, I'm just looking to get some information about the community. And I say, oh, okay, sure, we can do that, absolutely. What we're going to do is I'm going to walk you out through the community. I'm going to show you our amenity centers. I'm going to walk some home sites with you. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what the concept behind this community was, what we're building here, blah, 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 right? Well, if we start to do things that are outside of that, well, we start losing rapport. And this is what happens. We start losing. I want you to think about rapport as a highway. You have this long road. At the end of the road, you have this goal, this shining star, this thing we're trying to accomplish, right? Get pricing, look at floor plans, look at home sites, whatever. I want you to think about rapport being the road, breaking rapport being the ditches on both sides of the road, okay? We had to keep everything in rapport. We go in the ditch on the side of the road when a buyer says, oh my gosh, yeah, my kid just graduated from University of Alabama. And they just made a comment. We take the bait and make the entire goal now about building commonality about the fact that your kid just went to Alabama. So now we spend the next 10 or 15 minutes talking about Nick Saban and college football, and we think we're winning because we're building a relationship.
Roll Tide.
Right. Oh my gosh, like, did they just say Roll Tide? Let me follow them, okay? Yeah. And now all of a sudden we're no longer talking about home sites and home types and home prices. We're talking about Alabama, Auburn football. We wouldn't say Auburn, we'd say Auburn sucks. But that's what I'm saying. Like we start talking about college football. And so people would say, so now we're falling out of rapport. We're like, oh, how do we get the relationship back onto the highway as opposed to the ditch? We got to move it out of the ditch and onto the highway. You follow me?
Yep.
So you'd say, oh, what's a question? Well, they make a comment. It doesn't mean we like, oh, that's not what we talked about. Get you like, no. Oh my gosh, that's great. I love Alabama football too. It's like my kids went there. It's phenomenal. Have a conversation. It's fine. But bring it back to center. Bring it back to center and say, hey, speaking about, if we're inside the house, I'd say, because we're looking at home types, I'd say, speaking about Alabama football, let me ask you, in this family room, where would you put the big screen? Where would you be watching those Alabama football games? it takes the conversation right back into the highway of rapport. Now, as long as we're in rapport, we're driving the boat home. We're driving the car home. You wouldn't drive a boat up the highway, but you drive a car up the highway, right? We're back on track. The challenge is customers make a comment and we redirect the path, which doesn't lead us to the goal, which means we're no longer in rapport, which means at the end, we've made a friend, they really like us, but they leave without the information that they wanted to accomplish in the first place. We got to be careful not to take the bait, and we got to be careful not to give the bait. So it means we got to make sure that we stay in rapport, that we don't go off track, that we said we were going to accomplish this, and we said we were going to do this, this, and this, but then all of a sudden we went over here. It's like, if you went to the doctor, you were there to get your foot examined.
And he asked about your hand.
And he asked about your hand. Or vice versa, you're there to get your foot examined, and you start talking about your hand. Now the doctor's talking about your hand. You with me?
Yep.
And so now she is not focused on, fixing your foot. They're talking about your hand. You leave, and you're like, oh, that was really productive, but your hand still hurts.
Right.
So that's why having a shared agreement and a shared path about where you're going is so vital, because it keeps you both accountable to stay on that path. And as the pilot, when somebody veers off that path, you got to take them back to the center of the lane. This is where we're going to. So don't be not cordial, don't not have a conversation, but spin it back to how do I get it back to the center of the highway? Stay tuned for next week, because we'll talk about the flip side on the flim flam if you weren't the pilot, and then how do I get the pilot position back? Because I need the pilot position to move this out forward.